All right, so today I want to thank y'all for coming in during your planning, and today we're going to talk about PBIS. I know that PBIS is something that we have had at our school for several years. My struggle with PBIS is that I like to know the why we're doing something, not just that we are going to be doing something. And I feel like in our classrooms with our teachers, we didn't necessarily do a lot of preloading of the why we do PBIS. So our professional development today is going to be about the why behind PBIS. We're going to talk a little bit about strategies, but it's mostly going to be some background information and some things that I thought may be beneficial to kind of help you implement things a little bit better. So we all know PBIS is a multi-tiered system of supports for students in the areas of discipline, and the purpose of that is to improve the effectiveness and the efficiency of our school, to reduce referrals, to increase positive behaviors, things like that. Designed to improve the social, emotional, and academic success for all of our students. What I didn't know until I started working on this is that PBIS is actually part of IDEA. I didn't realize there was a legal part of IDEA that had to do with positive behavior interventions and supports. And so that is actually written into law. I thought it was just something that some school somewhere happened onto, and we clung to it and we kept on moving. So I think this part of it is really important. The part that the law talks about that we don't do a lot of is the functional behavior assessments of all students. We do that with our IDEA students, but we don't look at functional behavioral assessments across our students to know if what we're doing is meeting those students' needs. So I think one thing down the road that we could potentially look at doing is how do we implement that layer into our standards of what we do with students. Is that something we look at yearly, semesterly, things like that? We're always measuring our good versus our bad, but getting to the root of kind of where the major issues are. But this did become part of the law in 2004. Lots of cool sites for PBIS. And you have a handout that I have made for you that lists all of the resources that I pulled from, and the links. There's websites, there's articles, there's textbooks, and there are some videos on there. But PBIS.org, that is the main site for all things PBIS. You want to know why it started, who started it, any of that stuff, you go to PBIS.org and you're going to find that. PBISworld.com is a very cool site that I think could be really helpful for our teachers. So on this site, if I'm working with Johnny and Johnny is disrespectful in class, I go there, I click on the behavior. Is this what you're seeing Johnny do in class? Is this the behaviors you're seeing him exhibit in your classroom? Yes, it is. All right, these are some interventions. So for like a new teacher that doesn't have behavior management class necessarily in their undergrad program, or someone coming through PACE that doesn't have a lot of behavior management, a site like this could really benefit them to kind of give them some strategies that they can try. Outside of just, I hit the button, I needed help, I didn't know what else to do for that student. So this is a great, and it goes through all different kinds of behaviors that you would see. So this is really good to see some interventions. It gives you some tracking strategies. And then, hey, I've tried this strategy for at least 6 months. What would be some tier 2 interventions that I could do? So if you have that kid that habitually teach them coping skills, I go there, all sorts of things. So it's very easy for teachers to kind of go and get that information to know how to work effectively with that student. So I really like that site. I think that's a site that we could really use a lot. This is a PBIS classroom wheel. What is PBIS designed to do? Maximize your structure within your classroom. Develop routines. Keep an orderly environment. We all want that. Teach and monitor expectations and rules. Actively engage students. Use a continuum of culturally responsive strategies. And use it to acknowledge behavior and then how to respond to inappropriate behavior. So this was just a really good visual that I thought could kind of help kind of bring it all to one place. There's 3 different levels to PBIS. There's the elementary, middle, the fun, you bring in the dogs and the fun stuff, and then you get into high school where characters aren't going to help high school kids. You really have to have the contextual basis. You have to know what is the cultural background for this kid, what is the developmental level of this kid, where is my data coming from, then what am I trying to implement. PBIS school-wide, yes, is good, but everybody can't always be doing the same things or it's not going to be effective. Middle and elementary school, you can do a lot of the same PBIS stuff across the school. Once you get to high school, you really have to break it down and look to these other areas. So this is a short video that I'm going to show. This is an actual snapshot of a teacher in San Bernardino and her kind of using her PBIS strategies. This is the kind of stuff I think our teachers need to see, whether it's working with new teachers or how we implement it. I'm not sure, but things like this I think are really, we're not going to watch all 8 minutes of it. But I did just want you to see a little bit of what she does. I don't know if that's working. And this is a high school class, so a lot of times you can't find high school videos. You can find a ton of videos about what to do in elementary school.
Okay, so let's do our hero point for being on time. Thank you to all of you who were on time today.
She's averaging 4 positive comments for each corrective statement that she gives to students. Not drawing behavior necessarily to someone that's not doing what they need to be doing. She's having that one-on-one conversation with them.
The PBIS 4-to-1 strategy is that for every one corrective statement I might make, for instance, saying, Michael, will you please get out your paper? I'll follow it up with 4 positive statements. So maybe saying, thank you for getting your paper out, or thank you for getting your pencil out. And then throughout the period, I'll continue those positive statements.
Thank you, Eleanor, for working on your starter. Thank you, Jace. Ladies, thank you.
This is very easy stuff that I think people just don't think about doing. I think we get so caught up in
5 seconds, finish up your
everybody
last
doing the
thought.
right thing.
Okay, thank you guys so much for being quiet. That was amazing.
So we're not, like I said, we're not going to watch that whole thing, but I did just want to show, and that resource is also on your handout, finding strategies that work for high school kids, and that could work in any classroom. I think we have a lot of teachers that already do that. We have a lot of teachers that are, you can come in this more, we have a lot of teachers that are already, adding a lot of this stuff, and I think we could do a really good job putting together a database of some teachers doing some effective things to share with our new teachers. And I just think this is one, you can see at the end, she had 18 positive statements to a total of 3 corrective statements for the whole class. So Florida and Texas have been our really big kind of leading the way in statewide PBIS programs. When you go to either of their sites, and I'll just click on Florida's, they have all different kinds of resources, strategies, different tiers, coaching that's not just specific to Florida, but their state recognizes it, and they have a state foundation that is managed by Florida State in Florida, and they are using this and they are updating stuff all the time to provide resources for teachers. So I think this is a great resource. The Texas one, same thing, lessons, strategies, resources that are available to teachers to be able to use. One thing that we don't have at South Point that I wish we did have is something